Hi, besties.
Yo, yo.
What a fun show. What a great NXT. Tonight is March 11th. It's Tuesday. You know what time it is. It's Tuesday night, besties. I'm Amanda Savage. Who are you?
What up? I'm DC Hendrix, everybody. Pleasure to be with y'all once again. Back at it. Tuesday night besties. Let's go. NXT Roadblock.
Oh, that was a good one. It was a good one.
It was.
I guess we should, it's spoilers. Spoiler alert. If you have not seen the show, you probably want to stop here, right? Like, don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it. I got every single prediction right until the last match.
Oh, wow.
I missed the main event. That was the only one I missed in my predictions.
George is here. Hi, George.
What's up, George?
Nice to see you. It was pretty good tonight, George. I agree. George says NXT Roadblock was pretty good tonight. I think the atmosphere added a lot to the show, too. I think those, kind of mixing it up from the Performance Center has been successful, in my opinion. I feel like those shows are very energetic, and they kind of are a special, it adds a special element, I think, to the special edition shows that don't always exist when it's just at the Performance Center. Although, sometimes Halloween ones, it makes sense to me to stick at the Performance Center because I feel like they have props and whatnot. There's all kinds of traveling roadshow for that. But Roadblock was fun. It was a good one. We started the night, George knows, we started the night with the Hardys versus Fraxium. It's always nice to see the Hardys, but I do actually think that I've started to regret always wanting Fraxium to break up. Why? What's my bloodlust for that? Why? Why can't they just stay together?
Wait, you've been wanting Fraxium to break up?
Yeah, they're on the same Grayson Waller and Austin Theory tip with me, where I'm constantly suspicious that they're someone's turning heels.
If we're gonna keep tag team titles in WWE, all legit and good tag teams need to stay together. Otherwise, we can only do Pretty Deadly and DIY and
this is true.
Street Profits and Viking Raider, War Raiders, whatever they're called now, and
this is true.
Judgment Day so many times until we want Fraxium up in there.
That's true. Yes. I definitely.
That was the match of the night, in my opinion.
It was a good one. It was something that it's a delicate balance when you have really captivating younger talent going against people that literally are twice their age, right? It is no shade. It's just the facts. Right. And I think the Hardy Boys still obviously can keep up. I just also believe that Fraxium is it was a good match to showcase both.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody got over. Nobody looked rough. Nothing looked like every person there wasn't a star, and you wouldn't necessarily know that half of that match is 20 plus year veterans and half of the match is the NXT tag team champions, right? I think if you showed that match to anybody without context, it would still be impressive. So those are good ones. It's a good one. Hey, Ed's here. Hey, Ed.
What up, Ed? I love that Ed tunes in when he has a show at the same time. I appreciate it.
I know. That. How are you here, Ed? We need to join. We need to be a super team. We need to join forces.
He has another monitor to his right that he checks in real quick.
Don't worry about what we're doing, Ed. There's nothing good going on over here. It's just a man of rambling. I think it was a good way to start the show. It definitely set the pace, I would say.
Yes.
For the rest of the matches.
Fraxium has become the opener for the show. It feels like they are always used as the energy booster to start the show. And it works.
Yeah, it does work. It does. Actually, Ed, this is a good idea. We can stand and deliver. That's a good idea, Ed.
Like that.
So, yeah, I do. I think they're you're right. They're the pre-workout in the show. It's to jack you up. Get it going in a good way.
So let's start. I know we usually try to make our way through the show, but the main event is the thing that's in my mind right now. Before we even get to everything else that happened. So Julia and Stephanie Vaquer were in the main event for title for title, the Women's Championship and the NXT Women's North American Championship, and it was a winner take all match. And
Yes.
I was a little nervous when the match didn't even get started until like 9:45, and I'm like, there's still one more commercial break that they got to take. So I'm thinking this is going to be either a short match or they're going over, and usually don't go over on local television. So so what that told me was this match was going to be very quick, and it felt very quick and rushed, in my opinion. It was better than their first match, though. If anybody's seen their first matchup, this match was definitely better. Now, it was not, to be fair, their first match against each other just wasn't that, it didn't live up to expectations. But so this one was a lot better. It just definitely told me either the rumors are true. By rumors, I bring up Mike Johnson of PW Insider was the one that reported that Julia is banged up, has been dealing with many issues due to physicality. She's took some bumps and bruises. Nothing major, but just might need a little time off. So that was the report from Mike Johnson of PW Insider. And that, those rumors circulated and people were like, you're full of shit, yada, yada, yada. You know how people can be. Yeah. So that match did either confirm that for me look, it could be very well possible that Julia's being called up too, which to me, it wouldn't shock me, but at the same time, I just think her title reign just felt very quick.
Yeah, it's hard to know. George has a theory here. Julia's going to take some time off because she's banged up. We'll be back to get her rematch at Stand and Deliver.
I would like that if Stephanie still doesn't have both belts.
Yeah, I think my concern... Okay, and then George goes on to say, I'm surprised that Fallon, Henley, and Jana Parker didn't come out. I would like to see... I'm fine with Stephanie holding one belt until Stand and Deliver. I would be so disappointed if we just have a complete roadblock, if you will, from here to there with both women's singles titles. I think that would be, it's not like the world's worst mistake. I think you could get out of it through some tricky whatevers, but I just can't think of what that path forward looks like if you're just having just Stephanie has both the whole time. I think that doesn't leave a lot of wiggle room for the Fallon Henleys, for the Jada Parkers, for the Kalani Jordans, for even the Sol Rukas. Because now they advertised for next week that Chelsea Green was coming to have a United States Championship match against Sol Ruka. It kind of sounded like, then they showed her tweet, and it kind of sounded like she was just going to send Alba Fire or Piper Niven. It didn't even sound like she was accepting that match. So we'll see if that comes through or not. But you kind of have to have something like that going on as well if you're actually I do think here we go. Ed says, I'd love Stephanie to drop the North American title this week and we build to a ladder for the North American title at Stand and Deliver. I completely agree with that.
Yep. And it doesn't even need to be a ladder match. I know that's our go-to.
Right?
Yeah, that's our go-to when we want a multi-women or multi-man match. We always go to the ladder matches. But I definitely would not be opposed to some kind of either tournament or a fatal four-way type deal. But yeah, I think Jada is the next in line to become the Women's North American Champion. I think that's pretty clear at this point, especially with her quick vignette with Mickie James tonight. Mickie pretty much talking her up, telling her, look, you want something, take it. You Jada Parker, right? That's how you get down. So you want something, you take it. That's what, and Jada's so that felt like they were teasing her getting involved in the main event. That's what I was hoping.
Right. It did kind of seem like there was who said it? It said right here. Oh, did I already push this one?
I think George.
I am surprised that they didn't come out. I kind of expected maybe that's one of those things that they lost because of time and we might see later on social media or something, because it did feel like what Mickie James said to Jada Parker was definitely priming her to get involved in in a way, and that didn't come forward on this show. So we'll have to stay tuned to see what happens next week.
Who gave the better pep talk? Everyone in the comments and Amanda, who gave the better pep talk? So either Mickie James, her pep talk with Jada Parker, or The Undertaker with Obafemi. Who gave the better pep talk to their superstar?
Let us know in the comments. Why don't we? Well, let's take. What do the people have to say? Tell me what you think, people.
I loved it. I don't know about you, but I love that part tonight, and it just. I know they're trying to tease LFG. I get it. You know, I'm hooked on the show too, so you know it's all good. I know they're trying to tease it and promote it, but I thought that was a great inclusion in tonight's show, and I thought it was a fresh way to kind of, first of all, tease that, but also at the same time, I think it really helped elevate those superstars in that segment, both Jada and Obafemi.
Yeah, I agree. And I think they were, they're not that they're unlikely people, but they're also not the most obvious, which I think is important when you're doing spots like that, because I don't think anyone just wants to see the same repetitive, like, I don't know. It would just be, it would just be pretty boring if Mickie James is talking to like the sweetest baby face in time. She's like, Sol Ruka, you did a great job. You know what I mean? Like, no, like it's important that there's a match in that. And I do think I didn't realize that The Undertaker was not a lot taller than Obafemi, and probably depending on the footwear, he maybe isn't taller than Obafemi. So that was something that was fascinating, because they kind of begin the interaction, and it's sort of like, I think Taker's leaned backwards or something, and then stands completely up and is ever so slightly taller than Obafemi. But it was, it's a nice opportunity to give two people some shine that don't always necessarily get recognized for everything that they do. Obafemi, I think we take for granted. Agreed. I do think that we forget that not that long ago, we didn't always have, I don't want to besmirch anyone's name, but I remember when I first started covering NXT, it was like NXT 2.0, and it was like Braun Breaker ran through that thing, or like, did he have was it a sledgehammer or a chainsaw?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
He like broke through the old NXT logo, and it was like this whole thing.
Wasn't that his feud with Dolph Ziggler?
Yeah. It was not something that was very entertaining. And it also, even now, like Braun Breaker, where we've come from where we were, right? I think Obafemi is someone that you don't even need. You're not going from, I said it last week, you're not going from A to Z with Obafemi. There's like, this time in NXT is not necessarily, NXT is not about always honing your craft anymore. They're rolling in, TV ready. This is a comparable brand in many ways to SmackDown and Raw. I think sometimes the entertainment value is higher on NXT, but I'm cheaply entertained, I would say. Yeah, it was a nice moment. I always like it when they include legends in a way that isn't obvious. I think they chose a couple that were not super obvious.
Yeah, that was definitely one of my bright spots tonight. My best of the best though wasn't a match or anything though. My best of the best tonight was, and I actually got a retweet on this from Vic Joseph. I quoted Vic Joseph on Twitter. It was one of my favorite moments when Stephanie was doing her move. You know how Booker goes, Vic Joseph. Vic Joseph commented, in case you were listening, he said, "Why do you do that? Like you're dribbling a basketball for the Knicks." Booker didn't know what to say. He didn't say nothing for like 5 seconds. Like he didn't know how to react to that. Yeah. Vic has gotten really good at his like puns.
Yeah.
And his like one line, like he's gotten really good at that. Him and Booker, especially together, are like, I love them. They can never break up. I'm sorry.
Ed has a long-standing feud with Booker, I feel. Ed says, can we drop Booker now that we have Corey down in with NXT?
Nah, I'd rather have Booker than Corey. I'm not a Corey fan.
Booker. I love Booker and Vic because I do feel like I like their dynamic.
Corey to me gets like, look, I am a heel guy. I love heels. I always have, always will. But Corey like feels like he goes completely out of his way to side with the heel, to the point where sometimes he don't even be making fucking sense.
Oh,
it's like, what did you say, Corey? Like, what are you talking about right now? Like,
that's fair.
I would look NXT, which matches our show and our format. We don't take ourselves that seriously over here. We have fun.
Mm-hmm.
We're a fun show on a Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Everybody hates fucking Tuesday. It's worse than Monday, right? Because it's like, damn, it's only the second day of the week. But we have this show that helps us escape, right? So we want to have fun. We want Booker. I want Booker on my screen.
I continue to have a feud with Booker, specifically only because I will now purchase every version of Cholula Green. I bought there was a like seasoning packet, and it was green Cholula, and I bought that because I was like, well, okay, and it was also not spicy, and I just, God, he pisses me off with that. That's not the spiciest one. Stop saying that. You're insulting the women. That's my biggest gripe with Booker. Can I tell you what my best of the best was?
Yeah. What was that?
Okay.
Eddie Thorpe?
Oh, he was my second best of the best, I would say.
No
I
way.
Feel like,
you're
joking. Like, no, I'm not. I watched this entire show and I thought,
wow.
You know who impressed me tonight, and I feel like who made it make sense, was their dorky, the culling vignette. Okay. I don't have to like it to appreciate that it was adequately explained to me. You know what I mean? I enjoyed it. I was like, great, now I get it. This guy's a creep. He's basically brainwashed you. Like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of context that was added in that clip. So if you didn't see it, you kind of just have to watch it. It's impossible for me to explain, to be fair. But it just featured like Sean Spears's group. Their official name is The Culling. It again, I don't have to like it to appreciate it being explained. So I felt like they were they kind of gave their mission statement in a way. They're here to they're the culling, okay? They're here to cut the fat. They're getting rid of the floaters. I feel like that's a thing that they say in Big Brother. I've been watching a lot of Traders, and I can tell you that I do not care about these Big Brother people and their weird language all to themselves, but you have to get out the floaters. And so I feel like they're here to get out the floaters. And so that made sense. And then they, highlighted the fact that Sean Spears won gold for the first time. He seems to have gone absolutely mad on his beard. I don't know if he's going to the same barber as Lexis King at this point. I don't know if there's something new going on there, but there's something to behold. And then, I felt like they gave an explanation. I still don't care about Nico Vance. I apologize. I think he has a cool name, but like, I don't think they have I still don't really get where he came from. I mean, they didn't necessarily get into that, but it's cool, whatever. And then the second thing that I did like was I feel like they gave a little bit of flush to Eddie Thorpe.
Wow.
Only in that
he got his ass whooped.
Yeah, he got his ass whooped. Maybe that's what I liked about it. Maybe that's what I liked.
Trick whooped that trick.
He did whoop that trick. I think that I still don't. I feel like they're settling into a character for Eddie Thorpe, and so I'll let it go. Like, I do feel like it was oscillating quite radically, in my opinion. Like, just from a character standpoint, I was like, who is this person? And then like, you still have a feud with Trick, but it's almost like, what's the fucking point of this? Like, why are you fighting with him? Like there's reasons, but there wasn't a lot of meat on the bones, right? But I feel like it is what it is. They're gonna have an underground match.
I'm personally kind of tired of seeing Eddie and Trick, to be honest.
Yeah, just to like get it over with. But
yeah, I think they, I think they need to do the old throw them in a steel cage and in the feud type thing.
Yeah,
I'm kind of tired of Trick and Eddie. I'm kind of ready for. I'm gonna say this in the right way. I'm just ready for them to move on with Trick. I know what they're doing with Eddie. They're trying to develop a character. But with Trick, who is a former 2-time NXT champion, this is beneath him. Like, he is literally at this point just feuding with the guy that is meaningless. Like, I just hope something comes out of this. Like, maybe he is the secret leader of that new faction or something. Like, just give me somewhere, because Right now, it's just Trick just losing his shit on every Tuesday, and Eddie Thorpe just so happens to be the guy that is, pissing him off. I'm just kind of over it personally. So for me, it was good to see Eddie get beat up, but at the same time, I'm like, you could have just showed me Miko Satomura and showed me she was there during that segment or something. I would have been more excited about that. Her having a backstage segment or something. She was there, so
yeah, that would be exciting.
Just my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair. I am ready for it to be over, and perhaps that's why now I'm like taking a second look at it because I'm like, oh, it'll be over next week. But then if this happens, Ed says it's going to be Eddie versus Oba for Stand and Deliver, I think.
Ugh. I hate that.
I also hate that, Ed.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that. He's probably right, but I do not.
He's probably right, to be honest.
I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Trick has not gotten one-on-one with Oba, right? I don't think he's gotten one-on-one with Oba yet.
Because wasn't it?
It was a triple threat with Eddie.
Oh, Eddie, that's right. I don't know.
Then they just kind of threw Trick with Eddie, and Oba just kind of moved on.
I feel like this is Stand and Deliver season. Yeah. I feel like I'm gonna stop trying to figure it out, to be honest.
Just let them cook.
Because I think that I personally believe that Hickenbottom and company have a tighter grasp on who likes to send their faxes around town. Okay, this is in my mind. This is completely baseless. This is just this is how it goes in my mind. That someone at one of the tapings gets a physical sheet handed to them, and that person like scurries away and uses like a handheld fax and faxes it to Sean Ross Sapp, who then pulls it off of a fax machine, and then like in an old-timey like journalism hat, or like even what was that, the Drudge Report guy, like even that kind of a costume, is that he's like boop, 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 and like typing them up from the fax. This is how it goes in my mind. And then and that's when we get the select emails, like this is how it goes for me. And in my mind, NXT is just like slightly tighter with the faxes. Does that make any sense? Or it's just
does, like 100%.
It's not that like there's these like, I don't really think it's super like I understand that that's a very cartoonish way of thinking of it, but yeah, I think that NXT can maintain some of that expect the unexpected, because there's just different, unless they're faxing it to Corey Brennan, right? Because he usually has the NXT scoops. It's not like you have Mike Johnson's fingers in the pot to find out who Oba Femi is facing at Stand and Deliver. Right. I mean, maybe. Who knows?
Maybe he did break the Julia injury news.
Name. Yeah, exactly. He did know that. So I do think that it's a little bit less clear what's happening in the future. And that was my long explanation for why I'm not going to let this.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Me out.
He's probably right, but
you are probably right, Ed.
I don't know if I like that.
I don't know if I like that either.
To me, Trick and Oba's way bigger.
Something that I did like though was the I feel like the lighting effect and the music kind of just nondescript sounds. I guess it wasn't really a song, it was just kind of like noise during the mystery factions turn in the ring. They ran in at the
Have
end.
You seen people on social media about them, Amanda?
No, do they hate it?
Everyone hates them. Like,
people don't like fun, bro.
They hate them. Like, I've seen so many. Like, I was scrolling a little bit before we got on, and there's like, they call them the Temu Shield, is what they call them.
Temu Shield.
Temu Shield.
I don't know about all that. Temu Shield. If anything, it's more like I feel like it's an evil boy band. It's like Antifa and Queen. Because by the way, like I don't know
it sounds like a band from like Scott Pilgrim or some shit.
I don't know if they need to like unmask them, but they're all fine men. So like if you're gonna try to pretend like it's Temu anything, like it's not. Like I think they're building towards something. I think the way that it's being presented as almost like incrementally, like Oh, see, then I get down this whole rabbit hole of neurodivergence, right? Where I want to be like, if they're doing a run-in, how is it that their lighting effects are queued up and that the music is fine? You know what I mean? Like, I want to do it too. I want to do it too. Just so everyone out there who does that, I can understand. I feel it a little bit, but I don't think it's like the stupidest thing. I think there's still intrigue around like, why are they doing this?
Mm-hmm.
What is the point of this? Also, how did you get this like random crew? How did this odd assortment come together?
Right.
Who hurt you, Cutler James? Is what I was thinking about during this segment. Used to be such a good neighbor.
What's Joshua Black's name now? Isn't he the Osiris one? Osiris Griffin?
Osiris Griffin, and then
I only knew who he was because we followed each other, and he just like randomly changed his like when they finally debuted as the new.
Oh yeah, and then he was like changed his thing to being in it. Yeah. I did the same thing. I was like, oh shit, you're in this.
I was like, wow, okay. Okay. All right. So that's him. All right.
He's in there.
He's in there. Yeah, it was like then, I get it. Like I kind of I understand what people are trying to get at by calling them the Temu Shield. I will say, just lose the masks. Just lose the masks.
I think the masks.
They're falling off their face anyway. We can see who you are. We know who you are. Just take off the masks. And they're not even like masks. They're just like bandana looking like.
Yeah.
Just take them off. Like we could clearly see Deion Lennox's entire face tonight. And then he like, and then after the attack, he like pulls it back up to try to like, bro, we see.
Yeah, I did the whole like let me fan fiction my way into it where I was like, oh, that was on purpose. It fell down so that everyone knows it's Deion Lennox, and then he pulled it back. Like, no, Amanda, it probably just fell off. Like, honestly, it's not that deep. Calm down. But yeah, no, I can see where there's some critique. I just feel like it's still mildly intriguing to me. I feel like when it's go away, like, oh my God, I don't care.
Because people are impatient and they want them to like come out and right away say what they're doing and why they're doing it. And it's like, it's not how it works. Like we have to keep being, just let them cook. You know, I've learned to just let them, they'll introduce themselves and tell us all why they're doing what they're doing when they're ready.
I wonder, like, who's the leader? Is Trick the leader?
It definitely feels like Deion Lennox right now, but
I mean, I think so too, but like they keep making, you know, who has mentioned it so many damn times is Michael Cole continues to remind me that the Shield debuted as like mercenaries for CM Punk. Mm-hmm. And it makes me feel like maybe they're working on behalf of someone who's like not there yet or something. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Yeah, like somebody that hasn't even debuted yet. I like that. That'd be cool.
But I don't know who, so I don't know.
Yeah, let's not.
Tomorrow, I'll probably write 7 new signings.
Take a poll in the comments. Who is the leader of the new faction?
Who is the leader of the new faction? Somebody let me know. Let's see. CC and 2. Maybe it's Can 2. I'm not so sure. I'm so sorry. It's too much teasing on Rox being moved up. Is she staying at NXT or what? Okay, here's my personal theory regarding this. I feel as though we saw Roxanne Perez lose tonight and she's going to disappear. I think that we're going to see Trick lose to Eddie and disappear. I don't know. And then I think whatever happens with Tony D maybe has a rematch against Shawn Spears and loses. Perhaps they all have a match and they all disappear. I think the call-ups aren't going to be like people in active storylines. I think that there will be like some mystery and intrigue regarding where they are, at least for a couple of them. But the one I don't know about is Ethan Page because he's never been at Stand and Deliver. And I feel like that to me makes more sense. Like, I don't think they're going to. Yeah, but that was something similar.
I think we'll definitely get Ricky Ethan at Stand and Deliver.
Yeah.
I think we get Ricky Saints and Ethan. But for Roxanne, I'm kind of on that same boat as that commenter. It's like,
yeah, what are we doing, I guess? Sting or like, what?
So just look, she finishes in the final 2 at the Royal Rumble, right? Last one to get eliminated by Charlotte, who wins. Mm-hmm. Was that close to WrestleMania. She qualifies on Monday Night Raw for a spot in the Elimination Chamber match that also is a spot to WrestleMania. She showed her ass off in that match. Obviously, showcased her talents to the world on that stage. I don't personally understand why she's back in NXT. Like, it's just like, look, everybody doesn't have to go through the draft. Sometimes you just gotta pull the damn trigger. And it's like, do you keep her on the show to keep taking L's until she's gone? Like, I mean, what are they gonna do? Her and Cora, best friends, former best friends that stand and deliver. Roxanne can't win that because why? You got to uplift Cora in some way before she leaves. Otherwise, Cora loses. It's like, I don't understand why they're keeping her on NXT. So I'm with you. I think this has to be it. Because if you have her lose another match at Stand and Deliver, it's like, what does that do?
I feel like we've also been saying this. Like, I thought the Fatal 4-Way with Bayley and the Cora breakup, she was on the way out. Then did Chamber and Rumble. What the hell do they need next? It's annoying. It is a little annoying. It's taking quite some time, and I don't know if there's like a master plan reason for that or not. But
I thought it felt like she was facing Bayley at WrestleMania, right? Like, that's what it felt like.
That's what I thought was. I definitely thought something else entirely was happening for sure. I didn't think we'd see her back on NXT. But I'm actually really bad with that stuff. I think that they're always gone all the time. So
yeah, she needs to go to the main roster.
I've been trying to get Trick written off for
she needs the main roster, and the main roster needs her. Simple.
Indeed. And yeah, I did kind of drop the Bayley feud. So like, huh? And then like, I don't know. What's Bayley up to up there? I don't know. Maybe it's who knows?
They were cooking with that too. Like I felt like the Bayley Roxanne stuff was working. Like at least for me, it was working. So it really sucks that they just like stopped that cold turkey. And it's like, yeah, I personally like. Look, I would rather them keep her on NXT if they don't have a plan for her yet on the main roster. That way, she doesn't get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
But I also don't want her repeatedly taking L's either.
Oh, guys, could this group be Malachi Black's?
Ooh.
Sorry, I remembered. I wrote this the other day. I was writing lists, and I was like, "Who could be the leader?" I mean, that's not the list I was writing, but it was. I remembered the list, but I couldn't remember who it was. But now I did. Sorry, I just derailed.
That might be it. Group, you might be onto something.
I don't know. I just thought there's the way that it doesn't feel like there is any path forward on the main roster for anyone to debut. Like it would not make sense. It doesn't make sense. Where do they go? And so I don't know. That's a thing. This is what George thought he was too. We're getting Bayley and Roxanne at WrestleMania. Well, that's what we thought. That's what we thought too. We did. I don't know. So we'll have to figure this out. Hopefully, indeed. Also, what's next for Kalani? That's a great question as well.
She's another one that and especially now that her feud with Jada's pretty much over, I think they just need to completely change the character like they've been teasing us.
Yeah.
I think it's time to revamp her character before she goes up. I honestly think she's about ready. I mean, unless they want to keep her for another year and develop this new character, I think it is time to fully go into her character change. A little bit darker, a little bit more aggressive, and not so much of the the baby face stuff. It's like, I'd love to see. They've been teasing this like more sadistic side of her for a while, and I'm really hoping they lean more into that moving forward. So her next feud, I mean, I think should be against the babyface, and I think she should take this turn fully.
I would agree. I also miss Tatum Huxley. I always do. I think they're fun. And then, I don't know, man. That's a great question. And the Fallon Henley stable, do we break them up? Will JC and Gigi Wesley ever go up to the main roster?
It's tough. Like obviously we've seen, NXT people get called up too early. And we've seen people get called up because it was time. A perfect example, and I'm not trying to put them in the same category, but Wesley is like almost in the same category for me as Cameron Grimes, where it's like, they've done everything that they could do on NXT. So it's time, right? But the problem is they might get lost when they do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also feel like Wesley, it's not fully fleshed out like him as a faction leader. I feel like there's things left to do with Wesley and NXT. I don't know about JC and Gigi. Like, honestly, I feel like
They should have kept them together from the beginning.
yeah.
I think, while it's hard to say that
but
though, because JC turning on her was awesome. That was
yeah, it
awesome.
was like the actual
Yeah.
turn was pretty amazing. So I get it. But then
I'm really against breaking up tag teams that work that may not work by themselves.
Yeah.
It's like you run the risk of, especially when you have women's tag titles. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I really strongly disagree with breaking up teams when they work.
That's true. That's true. Well, okay. Ed says Trick, West, Roxanne, and Fallon need to be called up, but I'm not sure there's room for all of them on the main roster to get enough TV time, which I think is fair, and also would be my concern because I feel like, yeah, we haven't seen anything for JC. She's always used as a plot leader. I do agree. And then George says they need to break up Fatal Influence. I also agree-ish. I don't know.
While I love Fallon, I think the group would have been a little bit better with Nikita.
Correct. Yeah. I think we fantasy booked ourselves into that corner because once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
So I
don't think Fallon really fits. I don't think she ever really fit that.
No,
I think they could have just did
a different way.
Fallon could have did that by herself. I don't feel like she really needed the faction to really do anything. I felt like she already made that character change before they even joined, right? Like with her feud, with her post feud with what's her name? Her former tag team champion. I feel like I'm missing her name.
Kiana James.
Yeah. Kiana James. I kept wanting to call her Kalani James. I'm like, that's not it. Kiana, when they broke up, it already kind of felt like she made that character change. So she really didn't need it. I think Nikita needed that team, and I think they would have worked a little bit better together. But that's whether here nor there. I think Fallon is definitely ready for the main roster. She's been ready, honestly. Yeah. I think there's room for Fallon though. The women's division on the main roster, I think needs help. In my personal opinion, I feel like, especially with people like Becky out, and who knows? I mean, we thought she was coming back at the Royal Rumble, like, right? And I'm not saying Fallon's going to instantly be up to that, that caliber, but like, we can only see Lyra and Ivy Nile, and
I feel like Raw severely is lacking. It's boring to watch the same couple ladies rotate around in a circle. There's not really, honestly, there's almost as many titles as there are women that we see frequently. I can't even. Lyra has a title. Liv and Raquel have titles, right? So Rhea's there, but is involved, right? Or no. Is she champion right now? Io Sky, correct. Okay. So, but then other than that,
and that's Raw.
We're on a rotation of Ivy Nile.
SmackDown, you got Tiffany.
SmackDown is a little bit deeper, only because I feel like there's some unlikely candidates.
I do feel like SmackDown's deeper. I do.
But like Maxine Dupree, are we gonna see? Is she gonna be challenging for? I mean, I love her very deeply, but like I do think that Raw could hold more singles women's stars.
But that's what I mean too. Like Liv and Raquel, if we're keeping those women's tag titles, stop breaking up teams like JC and Gigi. Like stop doing that. Like that's my problem.
I also think Lash and Jakara Jackson could face Liv and Raquel.
Yes, 100%.
And I also, I would like some retcon. Okay, Ed, check it out. You'd have a lot of work to do to make up the rift between Trick and Mello, but I'd be into it. Here's what I want. I just want them to pretend like it didn't happen because I like the little time warp.
Just all they got to do. Look,
I like a continuity hole. I think
so. Mello. So Mello retweeted someone that replied to Trick, and Trick retweeted Mello, and Mello retweeted Mello. And Mello retweeted Trick, and Trick retweeted Mello. So Mello replied to Trick Trick tweeted something along the lines that he was tired of, tired of the locker room, tired of the wrestlers or something like that. And somebody replied with a quote from Mello when they were feuding, telling Trick, like, basically telling them, letting them know, like, they're gonna replace you. They're gonna be tired of you talking about us, the fans. They're gonna get tired of you and replace you, yada yada yada. And it was like spot on. Like literally exactly what happened when Oba came in and took that title. And so, like, a tease. Mello retweeted it, shared it, and said, "Told you so." Basically,
I want them back together, and I also delusionally think Kalani Jordan should be the third in their evil triad. I don't think Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson need to be affiliated with Trick Mello Gang. Like, I think you do like things too. Like sometimes you're like, oh, that's his girlfriend, but like no. But I do think in the case of Kalani Jordan, she go full heel, Trick go full heel. Come up together with Mello, and it gives Mello purpose because at this point, I feel like Carmelo Hayes is just also in a circular loop of doing the same dance with Andrade.
The reason Lash and Jakara or Lash wouldn't work with them, when she's involved, Lash does the talking.
Yeah.
With Trick and Mello, they need to be the ones talking. They don't
they don't need somebody to talk for them. That's true.
So yeah, I think Kalani would be perfect for that.
Guys, it's after 8, so I don't know if we have to.
It is. Yeah, we're going into GCW.
I
think we talked about everything. Oba Moose.
It happened.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good match. It was a good match.
Yeah, I didn't hate that.
It's just predictable. I mean, that's the only problem. It's like Oba is clearly not going to lose the title to Moose.
Yeah.
It's not believable. It's like, so I think that kind of took some of the steam out of it a little bit and some of the excitement.
I also thought there was just like a time problem. Like I thought like, oh my God, did daylight savings time mess this up? Because I thought that was the main event and I had to Google it to still find out that I had not missed. I was just like, you kind of assume it was just their entrances were really long. It was just kind of like, it almost felt like a filler, which I don't think is nice to say, but like it maybe showcase is a better way of thinking of it.
And it sucks because like people all over Twitter and the Internet Wrestling Club have been asking for that match forever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that's what we got.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely. I'm with you on that. It's like I said, with the NXT Championship being on the line, it took out the excitement for me because clearly Oba is not losing that.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Which also it had the opposite effect for the Hardy Boys and Fraxium because I did see a realm of comprehension that Fraxium beat them and then continues to have like these crossover appearances, whereas with Oba, Femi, and Moose, it like took me in the other direction. I was like, oh, there's no intrigue for me
See,
here.
that one for me was predictable too, though. It's like,
did you think? I just thought it was practical.
The Hardys beat them, so they got to get a rematch. That's Stand and Deliver for the NXT titles, and then Fraxium wins.
Yeah.
So for me, like I said, the only thing that kind of the outcome shocked me a little bit was the main event. We got a new double champ, Stephanie Vaquer. That shocked me a little bit. I thought it was going to be Julia because I thought that Stephanie was getting called up. That was my reasoning. I thought Stephanie was the one that was going to the main roster, mainly just because, for my personal assessment, yes, I'm wearing a Julia shirt saying this, but I love Julia. But in my personal opinion, Stephanie is more ready for the main roster. In the ring, on the microphone, in my personal opinion, Stephanie was more ready. So I thought if that was the reason we're rushing this match and had to do it now, that was my reasoning. So it's either Julia's getting called up or the rumors are true from Mike from PW Insider. It's out of those two.
Julia would be a cool henchwoman for Io Sky.
There we go.
Anyway. Okay, Hickenbottoms.
Yeah, we gotta go. Hickenbottoms.
We're gonna let you go. Oh, I promised that the affirmations would be back. I've thought about this deeply, and I think that this maybe should just become my brand of affirmation. It's just ruthless affection. I want you dumb motherfuckers to listen to me.
Listen up.
You should have a good week. And you know why you should have a good week? Because you should treat yourself well, and you should spend some time looking out for number one, which is you. Make sure that you view your choices throughout this week as what is best for number one. Okay. You put yourself first this week. Call it a heel turn, call it betting on yourself. Pretend that you are Johnny Gargano and you're going to get in a fist fight with Grayson Waller on your front lawn in front of your baby. But your baby has no way of knowing whether or not this traumatic event was real. So I still think about that match and feel disturbed by it all. But nevertheless, you should take on the week with that attempt at ferocity. You can do anything, but you should also be nice to people. So do what I tell my kids. I will respect your choices as long as you're not committing harm against another person. So yeah, I tell them they're probably going to elect for their own deities in the future. So whatever their religious choices are, I'll respect them as long as they're not committing harm against another person. But for now,
solid advice.
We get to
solid affirmations with Amanda is back.
Yeah, that was the worst one yet.
No,
I got derailed.
Last week was the worst one.
Last week probably was worse because I was just like, fuckers, this sucks. Life is horrible. Then we'll die. Bye.
Yeah, this week was better.
Okay, friendos. Oh, that's somebody else's thing. We can't say that. Besties. Okay, besties. We're going to get out of here. Sorry, GCW. Have a good rest of your week.
Love.
We'll see you soon. Bye.
Peace and love, y'all.